Hello everyone. So yes, I'm talking about org mode after a while, but today I wanted to give you my feedback on using org reveal. Not exactly org mode. I mean, it is org mode, but just like one of the mode or one of the package that I have been using, playing with for creating presentations. So if you watch my videos, if you watch my previous videos or the videos that I made in the last few months, I actually made quite a lot of them on org reveal. Now, in case you don't know, using org mode, you can of course make presentations. Although I try to, wherever applicable, if I have to, if I can, I try to use only org mode for also showing the content because there is a org-tree-slide mode which works wonderfully well. But there are cases where you need something a bit more fancy, where you can create something like this, like a HTML based presentation. It is of course not really going to generate a PPT for you, although using org mode you can export it to LaTeX or OpenOffice based formats, but and of course using PDF. But this is something that I think works really well because when it is HTML is text based, and to be honest, I can actually delete it because this is nothing but the output. The main thing here is the org file. Now, of course, I wanted to give you my feedback today. I was, of course, quite happy with the org reveal, which is something which I tried few months ago, and I believe org reveal is not really maintained anymore because I received a comment, but it still works. And I think there is another package like a branch from org reveal which is now maintained, which is I believe OX reveal. So this is something that I have been using, and I think it's really good because not only you can create not only you can convert your org files to a wonderful, beautiful looking presentations, but it is of course not very easy. I mean, it is of course very easy. It is, I mean, why I'm saying not easy, it is also very easy to do because once you set it up, you just need to export your org file to reveal, which you can do using your standard export. So you will get this option called reveal.js. So if you press RR, it will of course generate the file for you. Now the thing which I wanted to show you today is or basically what I wanted to share is that I have completely moved away from any kind of proprietary presentation tools like Google Slides or PowerPoint, which of course I don't really use PowerPoint. I was still using LibreOffice Slides. I don't even know the name of the package, but I was using it to create, or I had some of my slides in that particular format, which is something that I don't really use anymore. So I'm quite happy with this setup. Also, org reveal, or I think org reveal is not massively complicated, or it is not like your standard presentations. But for my use case, it works really well because I just need to show the content. And good thing is that it can also support it supports images. So if I show you my my org file, and by the way, good thing about org file is because when I make presentations, so for example, this particular presentation is talking about, so there is a talk which I'm doing tomorrow, and in that particular talk I'll be talking about script for Jira, which is one of the app which I use, and I will be talking about, of course, few use cases. But in this particular talk, I of course want to talk a bit more about I'll start with some introduction about the company and about myself, and this information is actually coming from another file, so I don't have to like redo it again, because if I'm talking about myself or the work that I do, it is nothing but a file which I can import or include, which I also mentioned. And by the way, this particular file which I'm including, I don't really want to include the whole file because usually my org files, they work really great on its own, because if I want to talk about myself or something else, I can do that separately in that particular file. I mean, it could, that particular file could be its own, I mean, there could be a separate PDF file for that particular file or a separate presentation, but if I have to include it in my main talk or my main presentation, I just need to make sure that I insert this or include this, but I can also exclude the first, or I should probably say I should start from 11, line number 11, which is usually the case because the setup on top, like these lines that I have, these are always like there. So I just have to make sure. It is a bit hard coding, which is still okay because I was looking for a way to automatically exclude all the lines in the starting where there is a hash plus the headers. But I guess I'm fine with this 11 because I'll not be doing it all the time, every day, every hour. I'll probably be working on this file or exporting it or including it once in a while whenever I have to do something like this, which actually works really good. So this is great. And of course, when you export it, the good thing about this method is that when you run this, or when you basically generate a file from it, it could be a LaTeX document or a org reveal document. It is actually going to include the file, the org file, and another org file with all the headers under this about section, which you can also see here. For example, if I show you this overview view of my presentation, so this is actually everything under about is going to be listed separately under it. Now another thing which I want to show you and talk about is basically the concept of or basically the option to include images. Now you can always include images in your presentations, and when you're including images, you don't have to, I mean, of course, when you include images in your org file, you just have to make sure that there is a hyperlink with the file, like starting with the file, and you don't have to do it. I mean, although you can do it manually if you have the file with you in this particular directory, which is basically the images directory where this file sits, like the root of this folder. But I don't really do it manually because I take a screenshot or I basically copy and paste. And for that, I use a package called org-download, which I did mention. I made a video on this, I believe. Now this can of course be done, and if you want, you can actually display this, because if you're doing presentations from within your org file, you can actually toggle the images. So there is a way to toggle inline images, which can be now shown here, and there are ways to resize it if you are doing it within your org file. But I don't massively worry about the size, because when I'm exporting it to, let us say, LaTeX or org reveal, it usually works. I mean, of course, I don't really have to resize the width all the time, but let me show you how it looks like. For example, if I show you this particular page, interesting use cases, if I go further, it will of course show you this image. And this is good thing about org reveal is that it is responsive. So if you increase the size of your, or if you have more width, it will of course adjust. So I think for my needs, I think for creating a simple presentation, but yet, I mean, it is not that simple, but it has some features where you can do a bit of fancy things, but it is not too complicated presentation. And I think I'm quite happy with this setup, and I am in a process to, so whenever I have to present something new, because I have so many things that I have to do. For example, I do trainings in Jira, I make videos, I have so many content, so many files, old files. So I had files in Google Slides or LibreOffice. So I'm now in a process to redo everything using nothing but org mode, because when you do something in org mode, it is nothing but a file which you can version control. Now, one thing about the images, which of course something that I know there are ways to improve it. Now, let us say if you have an image, if you replace it, or if you maybe, let us say, remove it, the thing is you have to make sure that this particular image is also removed from the directory, because otherwise it will consume a lot of space. I mean, it's like basic housekeeping. For example, if I have to remove this screenshot or maybe update it, because whenever I download something, or let us say if I have a screenshot to take, it will actually create the file with a timestamp, which is wonderful. Timestamp, and of course, I prefer this timestamp. I made a video, by the way, YYMMDD, and of course, hour, minutes, seconds. So the thing that you can also do is you can actually write a script, a shell script, or I'm sure there is a way to do it, where it can go through the files org files, it can look for the images, and then if the image is not there in the, or if the image is not there in the file, remove it from the directory. So I think this can be done, and I still have to do it. I guess I'll probably write a shell script because it is nothing but a text file. So this is something great, right? When you have org files, it is nothing but a text file. You can do a lot of wonderful things. You can, because it's a text file. That is the most important thing here. And let us say if one weekend I'm not doing anything, I'm at home, I'm getting bored, I'll probably write a shell script because I like doing it, and it will of course solve a problem. I'm sure someone has done it already because a lot of smart people use org mode, and I'm sure this problem is something that someone has definitely solved before, which I will also solve and share. So this is my feedback. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I just wanted to give you my feedback and encourage you to try not just org reveal, but also org mode in general. I think you should all be using org mode. It will make your life a lot simpler and easier, and you'll be happy. All right, that is it. That is all I wanted to talk about today. Bye bye.